Universal greeting. I'm M. Time is largely a construct cipher, and as we reluctantly stagger into the year 2025, that means we've had 40 continuous years of Transformers toys being unleashed upon the world. Every single year, Transformers toys were released at retail somewhere on this globe. And so to kick off this Wandering Toy Show Roadshow, let's take a quick look at some samples from each of the big overarching Transformers franchise chunks for the last 4 decades, with these new pictures recently uploaded to TFWIKI.net. The original The Transformers toy line ran from 1984 to 1991 in the United States, dropping the somewhere along the way, but went all the way to 1993 in European markets, blending directly into Generation 2 in 1994. And our first toy comes from that tail-end transitional year of the line, the Lightformer Deftwing. The Autobot Lightformers and Decepticon Tracons each came with a huge weapons platform built around a viewscope. While looking through said sculpt, a combination of light piping and a rotating shutter activated with the turn of a dial simulates weapons fire striking their target. He's an unusual choice for Generation 1 representation, I admit, but there's a lot here that speaks to the whole of the original line. Its sheer longevity, its international reach, changing aesthetics to fit with the times, the gimmick-focused sub-team formatting, and he's also the last of that group we needed a new pick of on the wiki. I like it when I can cap off a team. When Hasbro moved its action figures to recently acquired former competitor Kenner in 1995, it meant some lines got severely reworked, and perhaps none got more reworked than Transformers, which was in danger of actually dying for good by the mid-90s. 1996's Beast Wars changed a lot about what Transformers were on many levels, and it proved to be a roaring success. Oh wow, that was weak. Beast Wars refined the superposability and weapon storage tech from late Generation 2, but now in demi-realistic organic animal modes and biomechanical bot modes. And 1997's Mega Beast Baboom is a dang good example of what made the line work and sell so well. Baboom's spring-loaded missile launcher is available in both robot and beast modes, as well as his third battle platform mode, which can be piloted by the basic class figures in the line. Oh, and also, fun fact, this toy, roughly equivalent to a modern Voyager, cost $15 US. How's that make you feel? In the year 2000, the era of the Beast was winding down, though it wound down a little faster in Japan than in Hasbro's markets. Needing a change, Takara's Car Robots line fused Beast Wars toy tech with modern vehicle modes with mixed results. But one of the stronger entries is certainly Wild Ride, released as X-Brawn for the later Hasbro Robots in Disguise series. This clear-paneled version of the Mercedes, meant to represent a split-second transitional form between regular and super modes, as seen in the accompanying cartoon, was part of a 3-pack with his 2 brothers, sold at a few different special events in late 2000. And boy would I love a modern take on this toy. I'd love to have that beefy Trogdor arm without all that car door posability interference. Robots in Disguise gave Hasbro and Takara the time they needed to coordinate on the next phase of Transformers, kicking off a massive reboot in the form of 2002's Armada. And perhaps nothing embodies what would become known as the Unicron Trilogy more than Armada's introduction of the Minicons, represented here by Blackout. This tiny radar vehicle thing can attach to any toy with a compatible Power Links plug, some of which activate play gimmicks. But being packed in with the Decepticon Demolisher, Blackout was designed with specific interactions with his larger partner's vehicle mode. He can sit in the flip-out gunner seat, or be launched in vehicle form from the front end of the tank form. And this is the later Power Links Colors version, as while recoloring toys, usually as new characters, has been around since the Transformers' inception, Armada's in the practice of doing so for power-up forms really started to come in heavy. Mostly just to keep up with demand for new product, since Armada was a huge hit. While the Unicron Trilogy was a success that kept Transformers growing, it was the 2007 live-action movie that made the franchise explode. See Michael Bay explode? Making approximately $11 bajillion, the movie caused demand for Transformers toys to absolutely skyrocket. And of course, the radically different and very complex robot designs provided some incredible toy design challenges, even for characters that weren't in the movies, like Dropkick here, one one of the many mass-produced mooks from the tie-in video games to get made as a toy. While he came in both Decepticon and Autobot forms in the games, the toy is the Decepticon version of the model, though the head is an entirely new design. He comes with an all-new nifty bed cover that hides a nasty, crushing clamp gimmick for robot mode. And if you want to think this is an alternate universe version of Dropkick from the Bumblebee movie, hey, I ain't gonna stop you.
What are you doing? This is humiliating.
And on the complete opposite end of the aesthetic spectrum, the concurrently produced Transformers Animated is a cavalcade of smooth lines and rich colors, and featured an unprecedented amount of coordination between the toy designers and cartoon producers to make the plastic and televised versions of the characters as close as physically possible, which resulted in toys like Samurai Prowl, which took the original deluxe Prowl toy, already an impressive piece of work, and tweaked it to work with a new sidecar add-on that formed Samurai Armor for the robot mode. This did mean this version no longer has the hubcap shuriken of the original toy, though you can pry the non-shuriken hubcap parts loose if you really wanna. I wouldn't, personally. The runaway success of the movies and their attached toy lines bled into the design ethos of the next era of the non-movie series, Transformers Prime. This was the proper kicking off point of the, quote, aligned continuity, Hasbro's attempt to lay down a consistent background mythos for the franchise going forward, which, yeah, it did. And while it had many remakes of prior characters, it continued to introduce many new ones who would make their way into later series, like the sinister Arachnid. This is the Takara Tomy release, a slightly modified version of the Hasbro Deluxe, with a lot of its detail deco supplied by customer-applied stickers, plus additional 5mm weapon mounting points as part of the line-wide Arms Micron gimmick. Each toy came with a mini model kit that made a Minicon who transforms into a weapon for the larger bot. Arachnid came with a Spider-Bot Ida, who transforms into a Double Claw, which is an Arachnid show weapon, as most of the Microns for show characters are based on their in-show weapons. But oh well, it's still fun. With older collector-aimed lines becoming an ever bigger chunk of Transformerdom throughout Prime's run, Hasbro pushed its following cartoon-backed lines more towards younger kids. 2018's Cyberverse took simpler toy design philosophy and mixed it with the new Evergreen models, which were made to be used on random, non-specific Transformers merchandising going forward into the future. The Ultra Class Alpha Trion is a good example of this line's general styling. This toy of the ancient Autobot is a chunky one. The transformation to Starship mode is simple, the robot articulation is pretty minimal, and there's an emphasis on spring-loaded gimmickry that had all but vanished from the collector-aimed lines. Over time, the line would veer a little bit more towards upping their articulation, but in general, the primary focus stayed on play gimmicks. And for our last entry this month, we come to Earthspark, focusing on a new breed of Earthborn Transformers, the Terrans, including the less-than-friendly Chaos Terrans, like Spitfire, who shares a form with the heroic Terran Twitch. This toy is a one-step flip changer, which does indeed transform between modes in a single step, though she doesn't really flip to do so. Tip her robot mode face forward and the trigger button in her torso hits the ground first, snapping her into drone mode. Still, a solid toy for the younger set, and it's always important to remember the kids when it comes to the life of this franchise. And she's yet another character in an ever-growing list of female Transformers to get toys, which we still don't have enough of. But thankfully, the line continues to give us more and more every year. Of course, this is all the tiniest fraction of 40 years of Transformers toy history, and there's hopefully many more still to come. And I plan on keeping tabs on as much of it as possible and spreading the love for this lunatic franchise for as long as possible. So what toys do you think are good examples of their lines? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like these looks back at the long history of Transformers toys, like and subscribe and slap bell around, why not? Sure, it probably does something beneficial. More toy pics are always coming, so stick around for those. You can also help this project by joining my Patreon, getting early access to the vids, and even potentially picking a monthly theme. See you next update.